playing this guy in the movie Moscow on the Hudson with Robin Williams. You may have seen him with Tom Hanks in The Money Pit, with Meryl Streep and Jack Nicholson in Heartburn. Tonight Show, HBO, Showtime. But tonight he's here for you. Let's have a big welcome from Russia, Yakov Smirnov.
My name is Yakov Smirnov. As you know, I'm originally from Russia. Thank you very much. But I'm an American now. It is great to be an American. Only in America can pizza get to your house faster than the ambulance can. Only in America, you walk into a bank and you see a vault door open and they chain down a pen. Only in America, every football game starts with them flipping a quarter, and then for the rest of the game, the whole crowd screams, "Get the quarter back." I bet you never thought of it that way, but you will now. Only in America with the word politics describe the process so well. Poly in Latin means many, and ticks means blood-sucking parasite. Only in America with gas prices go for the roof because oil is in Texas and Oklahoma, and all the dipsticks are in Washington. Only in America during COVID, we ran out of toilet paper. And I figured out why. Because every time someone sneezed, 100 people pooped their pants. Think about it. If you needed 50 rolls of toilet paper for 14-day quarantine, you should have been seeing a doctor way before that. But we got used to it. I mean, we make jokes about it. I washed my hands because they said wash, wash, wash. And I observed so much soap that now, every time I go pee, I make a bubble bath. They told us that we need to have, for Thanksgiving, only 6 people over. But for a funeral, we can have 30 people over. So I staged a funeral of my pet turkey. And those masks, I still don't understand. How does the fabric of your mask protect you from a virus when the fabric of your underwear, with pants over them, does not protect you from a smell of a toot? Even the silent ones. Those are the deadliest. And then there's that first Zoom visit with the doctor. Yeah. Very uncomfortable to do your own prostate exam. I did it firsthand, but I was happy I wasn't scheduled for colonoscopy. But we found humor in this, and being in lockdown, it so reminded me of the Soviet Union, because that's how we lived in a communal apartment, my parents and I. A communal apartment, you probably know, it's just like when a bunch of families the government puts together in one place. So my mom, my dad, and I shared the bedroom till I was 26 years old. I'm not making this up. When I was a little kid and my parents wanted to be romantic, they would send me to look out the window. And then my dad would say, so what do you see in the window? I said, our neighbors being romantic. He said, how can you tell? I said, because their son is looking at me. Something magical happened. Something magical happened that moment. My parents laughed. And when I heard that sound of laughter, I realized we were connected and as a family. And that sounded so wonderful. And later my parents told me I was the only child because we had only one window. But I wanted to hear that sound of laughter. I remember getting a little bit older and asking my mom, I said, where did people come from? And she said, well, there was Adam and Eve, and they had a baby, and people multiplied. And I go to my dad, and I said, where did people come from? And he said, well, there were monkeys. Monkeys evolved. That's how we got people. And that evening, we're having dinner. And I said, Mom, how come you say there was Adam and Eve, and Dad says that there were monkeys? And my mom said, I was talking about my side of the family. Your dad is still a hairy ape. And my dad would laugh, and here, it was just wonderful to hear that sound, you know, and I remember asking, Dad, how come when I go to friends' homes and there is no laughter, and you guys create so much laughter? And my dad said, it's because when we got married, your mother and I made an agreement. I'm not going to run her life, and I'm not going to run my life. And my mom would laugh no matter what. He knew what to do, even if she was mad at him about something. Like one time, I remember, she didn't want to talk to him or look at him, and he knew what to do. He walked into a bedroom, and he had this tray in his hand, and on the tray, there was a tall glass of water and a small bottle of aspirin. And my mom saw it, and she said, what are you doing? I don't have a headache. My dad said, that's all I wanted to hear. Yakov, go look out the window. And my mom would laugh, and she would forget all the problems she was doing. So that's how it was. And I wanted to create more of that laughter. And I went to school, and you know, in school the communists were in charge, and we had one teacher who was like, you know, he was pretty mean, and he said to the class, anybody who's not smart, stand up. And I stood up. And he said, Yakov, you're pretty smart. I said, I know, but I didn't want you to be the only one standing. That was not smart at all. But my classmates laughed just like you did, and I felt connected, and I wanted to hear more of that, so I became a class clown. I would get in trouble a lot. I was in the principal's office so many times, they gave me my own key. And in the principal's office, which is standard procedure, they ask you, who is your father? And you're supposed to say, my father is Soviet Union. And who is your mother? You're supposed to say, my mother is Communist Party. And whom do you want to be? And you're supposed to say, I want to be a builder, I want to be a teacher, I want to be a farmer. They asked me, who is your father? I said, my father is Soviet Union. Good, good. Who is your mother? I said, my mother is Communist Party. Good, good. Whom do you want to be? I said, I want to be an orphan. Not smart at all. But miracle happened. My principal laughed because he wanted to be an orphan too. So I decided that if I could make my principal laugh, I could make other people laugh. So I figured when I grow up, I want to be a Russian comedian. Now, those two words, Americans don't normally put next to each other. It sounds like Amish electrician. You don't hear much about those guys, do you? Because they don't have a union. In the Soviet Union, I'm not making this up, to become a professional comedian, you have to submit your material to the Ministry of Culture that has a department of jokes. I'm not making this up. Bureaucrats are sitting there deciding what's funny, what's not. Would you like to hear some jokes they would not let me tell? Okay. Как объяснить советскому человеку, что... You heard this joke? Okay, I'll tell the English. How to explain Watergate to somebody from the Soviet Union? The government broke into a hotel room and set up microphones. We call it room service. They didn't like that joke. Another joke was silly, you know, they tried to open Taco Bell in Russia, but the Russian government didn't like the slogan, "Run for the border." They didn't like that. Then another one was like, let's see, there's two channels on our TV. Channel 1 is propaganda. Channel 2, KGB officer tells you, turn back to Channel 1. But they did give me a license, and I became a comedian touring the country. And at that point, you know, I was older, I was around 20, and I wanted to meet a girl. I was asking my dad, I said, what do girls like? And he said, well, they like romance. If you bring flowers, maybe write a poem, maybe shave. and she'll try to do something nice for you. She'll put on nice clothing, perfume. If you're lucky, she'll shave. So I'm dating this girl, and it was going on for like 6 months, and one day she says, why don't you come to our apartment and meet my parents? We'll have dinner together. And I'm thinking, this is getting serious. Tonight might be the night. So I wanted to prepare, I wanted to do a responsible thing. I went to a pharmacy to pick up something you might need in case things go well. In case she shaved. But in the Soviet Union, I'm not making this up. In the Soviet Union, you could not pick those things up from the shelf. You have to talk to a pharmacist, and then he decides whether you need it or not. That was the rules, right? And so I got it. I went to their apartment, and her mom was all over me. I mean, she was like food and drinks and all. Dad, I could tell, didn't like me. And I said, to break the ice, I kind of go, I said, let's say a prayer. And my girlfriend looks at me and she goes, this is Soviet Union. I didn't know you were religious. And I said, yes, and I didn't know your dad was a pharmacist. He wanted her home by 9 p.m. I looked at my watch, it was 8:30. But when we got home, he was in a better mood, smiling, shook my hand, and gave me a recipe for something called cyanide. So at that point, I asked my parents, I said, are there places in the world where people are happier than in the Soviet Union? And my dad said, everywhere. But he said, America is unique because in America, every citizen has inalienable right to life, liberty, and what? And free online shipping. So So we came to America. I knew that it's going to be different. Life was going to be different. We're on the airplane, and in the Soviet Union, they would not encourage us to laugh out loud. I mean, just a smile would consider mental illness, you know. So I would laugh in, and it sounded real obnoxious, like. I'm on the plane. I'm realizing I have a strange laugh because they're showing a movie. Something was funny in the movie. I start laughing. The oxygen mask fell out. Then we get to Kennedy Airport and going through the immigration, and they gave us an interpreter because we don't speak English. And he said, well, they asked me, what do you want to do in America? I said, I want to do comedy. They started laughing. I said, well, I'm doing pretty good. Then I see dogs are sniffing my luggage. And I said, what are they doing? And the interpreter said, they're looking for drugs. I heard, wow, I heard in America people are hooked on drugs, but dogs? And they start laughing again. I'm going, I'm doing pretty good so far. So, and then we're walking through the airport, and we hear people say, yep, yep. Yep in English means yes. In Russian, it means to be romantic. I'm not making this up. We're walking through the airport, and we hear people say, yep, yep, yep. And I'm thinking, no wonder they're happy in America. And my dad looks at my mom with a big smile on his face. She goes, nope. And we have to learn everything. Things that you do just without even thinking was challenging. Walking in the supermarket, and I saw a carton of dozen eggs. And I'm thinking, how do they make chickens sit that close together? I was going for express line. It says 10 items or less. I put 2 eggs back. I saw a jar, a jar that said, "Great poop on." See, I bet you never thought of it that way. But you will now. Lysol says kills odors. Took me 3 weeks to get rid of the rush from under my house. Then I walked into a bathroom, and there's a sign that says baby changing station. So I'm thinking, if you don't like your baby, you get a new one right here. Then I saw scented toilet paper. When are you supposed to smell that? I did it wrong for a long time. Smell like great poop on. Or what's the product, Nair? It said, get Nair for your hair. 7 weeks to grow it back. This guy is still using it, right? Or those diapers that you only change once a week. You've seen them, and the package just holds up to 18 pounds. So what do you do when the diaper weighs more than a baby? You gotta take him to the baby changing station. And then I walked into this aisle that should just have a sign, no men allowed. Because there were products for women, you know, the stuff that women need. And I walked in and I see this big box that says New Freedom. And I'm just new in the country. I'm thinking, wow, freedom in a box. I bought 15 of them. With wings and everything. They were flying off the shelf. And I would write letters to my friends in Russia. I'd put those things in envelope. I figured they should enjoy some freedom too. I don't do it anymore. I buy Stay Free now. Always. See, women got that joke and men have no idea. It just depends. That's it. So this was, getting a job was not easy. Also, I got a job as a waiter, and I applied for a job. The manager seemed very nice. He said, "You want some coffee?" I said, "Thank you. I don't drink coffee. Do you have any water?" He said, "Oh yeah, plenty of water. I have water coming out of my ears." I said, "I'll have